All right, hello everybody. We're back home. We've been back home for a little bit now. I've been sick for quite a while, not really sure what I caught. Sorry for the mess behind me. We're still kind of unpacking. But we've been back been about 2 weeks now, I think, since we've gotten back home from the cruise. So I'm going to show you some of the pins that we got that are keepers that are going to go on my pin boards. And then I'll show you the current pin boards I have. So these here are some of our keepers. So I was able to trade for that Tinkerbell duck. That's the Bugs Life Princess Ada I was able to trade for. We also have a Buzz Lightyear here. We got this little guy. I can't remember his name, but he's from WALL-E. There's that Sorcerer's Apprentice Castle, Hades. And then this was one I was able to trade off of a board. This one's actually for my daughter because she likes cats. And then you've seen these. This one as well was a trade off of a pin board. And then this is a fake one. Like definitely, like he's very much fake. But my son really likes Star Wars, so that one's for him. This stitch is for my daughter. And then I have a couple of others that I will have to pull out. Show you guys, because I'm pretty sure I have another Hades. I just don't know where he went. Just give me 1 second. All right, there's my other Hades. He made it onto my trader sheet. So these are some of my traders for next time I go to the parks. Keep the Marie. I actually might decide to keep this one again. I'm just so on the fence about this one because it technically doesn't fit with my Auroras. But like, I mean, it kind of does. And then of course we have these. This one honestly is probably going to end up going to my daughter. I'll see if she wants the Angel as well. Then we still have the Cheshire and then the Tron that I don't have room for. I do have some more traders. Let me grab them for you and I'll give you a quick peek of those. So these are some of the other traders that I have. There you go, that's it. Yeah. So, fun thing about these two and this one, so these four, is they're actually from the Disney movie rewards. And I used to, no, Disney Movie Club. And you used to get a free pin when you would buy a movie. So these guys are all from there. Is there any on this page that are from there as well? No, I don't think so. No, these are all newer. Oh, this one. This one's also from that. But yeah, so these are some of the traders. I'm going to add some of these guys into there. Like I said, I'm going to see if my daughter wants that one. And we'll get them put away. Alright, so I'm going to show you some of my pin boards here. So this is kind of my Nightmare Before Christmas / Oogie Boogie section. Other villains. I know these aren't the same. There's Chernabog and then there's Goliath. This is my Hades section. We got my Kingdom Hearts pin here. Yes, this is a fake, but I just love it. These are my Donald pins. And then if you go up, you have, these are kind of other random pins that I like. Ooh. My Alice in Wonderland pins and Mickey heads. These are my cruise pins. These are ones that are related to the Disney parks. My Maleficent pin section here. Yes, some of these are fake, but I love them anyway. This is my Aurora section. I don't have many Auroras yet. Tinkerbell. Buzz Lightyear. Cats. And Monsters, Inc. So we're going to get these guys put away and start our unpacking, and I will see you guys again in a little bit to kind of talk about our review of our trip on the Disney Dream. All right, so we're back with Tyson, and we are going to do a little review of this cruise versus our one we did on the fantasy. I am just going to say that, so the cruises are 2 different lengths. The one on the fantasy was a 7-night Halloween on the high seas, and the dream was a 4-night, I don't even know what it would be considered, bohemian, I guess, cruise. So I am going to leave out, and like we're not going to consider the fact that the fantasy cruise was Halloween on the high seas, because then it will win everything. Because Halloween is the best. So we're going to forget about that. And the first thing we are going to cover is the port. So where you arrive. So on the fantasy, we went to Port Canaveral, and on the dream, we went to Port Everglades. So, Tyson, your opinions. Which port was better, Canaveral or Everglades?
I would say Canaveral. That would have been the one from the first cruise.
Reasoning?
Well, facility-wise, they're more or less the same, but I found that the assistance that you would get, you didn't have to request for it at the first one. When we got off at the first one, because we had the kids with us, they literally had people just kind of pointing and like, you're going that way, you're going that way, keep going that way, keep going that way. Versus this time when we got off, I noticed that we had to kind of find our way a little bit before we started getting directed to where we needed to go. That would be. You seem to have difference of opinions.
So I disagree. I think that Everglades was a better port. I thought that the theming inside was better, because it's all like the Finding Nemo, right? Like there was all like the bubbles on the ceiling. So like visually, it was nicer. And then I thought it was more straightforward from where you got dropped off to where you go into the cruise terminal. Whereas I thought at Canaveral, it was more confusing, which is why they had all those people that had to point you in the right direction, because it wasn't self-explanatory. I also thought it was a lot smoother at Everglades than Canaveral. Like the whole getting off, getting on system, I thought was a heck of a lot smoother.
I suppose we didn't have to wait very long at Canaveral though, because we were in a later boarding group.
So no, we were not. We are in an earlier boarding group for Canaveral. But the reason we didn't have to wait is because the bus, because we took Disney transportation, and the bus showed up and like dropped us off right before our boarding group was called, type of thing. So like, yes, we didn't, but I honestly preferred the wait, because like, okay, yes, you're waiting, but it gives you time to go through and learn the My Disney Experience app and start planning out your days. Whereas we didn't even get to open it yet before our group was called to go onto the ship. So we disagree. He's Canaveral. I'm Everglades.
I will also say that she does most of the planning for this stuff. So the discrepancy there is a lot of the stuff I'm unaware of, because she's taking care of all that stuff behind the scenes.
All right. So our next category is ship decor, right? So we're looking at the decor, just overall, when you first walk in, the atrium of the ship. So I'll put 2 pictures here of the different atriums for you guys to see. So first we have the fantasy, and then we have the dream. Tyson, which had the better atrium, and why?
I mean, I felt they were very much the same. You're gonna have a very different opinion. I wasn't paying that close attention to it because I thought they both looked lovely. You are going to, if for no other reason, I know how to talk. If for no other reason, you're going to say, possibly the dream, because it has Donald in the atrium.
Okay.
It has that statue.
Okay, so but which one are you picking, fantasy or dream for atrium?
Again, probably fantasy.
And I know so he likes the color green. So as you can see, so the fantasy is very much like the atrium. So you got Minnie in her flapper outfit, and then you have like the peacock feathers, like the chandelier thing, and then the carpet on the floor. So I do prefer the Dream's atrium. And it's not even just because of Donald. That chandelier, I think, is much more impressive than the one on the fantasy. And then the carpets are more blue. and I prefer blue to green. So I do think that I enjoyed the atrium of the Dream over the Fantasy. Now we're going to look at the lounges, okay? So like the D lounges are the same, but then on the Fantasy there's that one, I can't remember the name of it, but it is the one where it's like the merry-go-round bar. And then also we have the, what was the name of the lounge there? So it's the Evolution on the Dream, and it's like a butterfly. And then on the Fantasy, it was that like England like train system. All right, so once again, we're looking at the difference between the lounges. So I just looked it up, and it is La Piazza is that one that was like the merry-go-round. And then it was the Tube is the name of like that one where all of like the adult activities are. And then on the Dream, I don't even think we spent any time in like that main one as you're going through.
We just had to walk through it a couple of times. There was
we didn't spend any time there, but we spent time at, was it Club
687?
Yeah, that sounds right. Or 647, 687. One of those. That one, and then Evolution is where we spent our time. So which one?
Definitely the Dream. The one on the Dream. Well, I mean, we didn't spend any time in that one lounge, but so when we were on the Fantasy and we would do trivia or any activity in
La Piazza,
there was never enough room because all the tables are on the perimeter of the room, and then there's the bar in the middle. So there's less seating. We didn't do any activities in what's the name of the bar lounge on the Dream?
I don't remember, but there was like a bar lounge as well. It's the same one as what would have been La Piazza, but
they put the bar on the outside of the room so that they had table space on the inside of the room, so that they had more room for actual seating. And then most of the activities took place in 786 that we went to.
You're completely changing the numbers again.
There's a 7 and 8 and a 6. And the numbers aren't sequential. I'm pretty sure it is 786.
You literally said before
687?
I think, or something like that. Or, no, I think you actually said 647.
No, it's a 6, a 7, and an 8. They're just not in order.
Okay, anyway, that club, I'll put the name of it down here once I look it up when I'm editing. Yeah, so he says the Dream. I would agree that I preferred the lounge spaces on the Dream, while La Piazza looks fantastic. Okay, like it looks so fancy compared to the Dream. It's not functional at all because like you can't see nothing because it's all at the front, and then you have that all those bars going around where the bar is to make it look like a merry-go-round, and you can't.
Carousel.
Oh, sorry. Is it the same thing?
No, a carousel is the thing that has like things that you can ride on them and they go around. A merry-go-round is the thing at a playground that you spin and try and give yourself a concussion.
We'll agree to disagree on that one. But you can't see anything. So I would agree. So we both agree lounges on the Dream are better. All right, next up, we're looking at food. So this is going to include main dining, cabanas, and room service, and then that little area that has, because they have the same ones, they have like the Fillmores, the Tomaters, like all those stuff. Like all those like other dining options. So food better on the Fantasy or the Dream?
Are we including the actual dining facility itself or just the actual cuisine?
Tyson, the restaurants are the exact same between the two.
But the service wasn't.
That we're talking about just the food.
Okay, that's what I asked. I found them very similar. I'd have to give the edge to the Fantasy. Might have to do with the fact that we were there longer, and so we went through more options. But I would say on the Fantasy, they had more food options that I enjoyed. Although I enjoyed them both, they were both very well done. I'd say that Fantasy had the better food.
So I actually ordered a lot of the same food on the two cruises because I really, really enjoyed them on the Fantasy. So I was like, I really love this. I'm going to get it again. So some of the things I ordered that were the exact same would be the
mushroom, that portobello mushroom.
What portobello? It was the mushroom bacon tart thing.
That's what I said.
The truffle percettes, the herb crusted pork chop, like those type of things. Like they were all the same, right? Also the lobster ravioli, like all that. I ordered all the same. Fantasy definitely won. So I dreamt about that bacon mushroom tart, okay? Since I had it on the fantasy. I actually got a second one on the fantasy because I liked it so much. I could not wait to get on the dream and have it again. And it disappointed me heavily. So unfortunately on the dream I found, especially with my pork chops, they were very dry. Every time I got a pork chop, it was dry. My herb crusted pork chop on the dream, I barely ate any of it because it just unfortunately wasn't good. So like if I had to give the food a rating, like for a scale of 1 to 10, fantasy was a 10 out of 10. Dream, honestly, I'd give it like a 5 out of 10. A lot of the food that I enjoyed on the fantasy was not good on the dream.
I will say the food I think I had steak almost every night, like different versions of steak, and then usually with something else. But they did do it very well. I like mine medium well, and yeah, no, I found it very good. It was cooked the way I liked it every time. And then I also had another meat option with it. So I had chicken one night, very well done.
You had, wasn't it like
I had
veal?
duck, I had rack of lamb.
Oh, lamb, that's what it was.
Yeah, I had rack of lamb. I'd say the duck was the thing that was probably, if I had to say something, it wasn't prepared as well as the rest, but it was still, I found it enjoyable. But I mean, you know me, I'm not too fussy about that sort of thing.
So we both technically then say the food was better on the fantasy.
Yes, because I did have the duck on the fantasy, and it was better on the fantasy. That was one of the few things I had that was the same both times.
All right. Next up, we're looking at room. So we did have two different categories of staterooms. So on the fantasy, we were in an ocean view, like the larger like family stateroom because it was able to sleep 5. And then on the dream, we had an inside stateroom. Which stateroom would you say you preferred?
What are the technical names again?
Ocean view, inside.
Ocean view. I'd say I enjoyed the ocean view more. But that's just because I felt like having the big porthole there makes the room feel bigger, I find.
The room was a lot bigger.
I know, but like even the feel of it. I did like that in the dream that every now and again you'll see Tinkerbell show up, and then another Disney character will show up on the porthole, and I thought that was a very neat touch. That's very cool. But yeah, no, now it also works out because you don't get blasted with sunlight first thing in the morning if you're on the internal room, which is also nice if you're trying to actually sleep in on your vacation days. But it does make it harder to get up and get those Trail Mickey waffles. Trail Mickey waffles? Mickey Trail waffles?
Yeah, Trail Mickey waffles.
Yes.
Okay. I disagree. I preferred our inside stateroom on the dream. I don't feel that we spent enough time in our stateroom, honestly, to even make use of the large porthole. But so like when we were in a room, we were kind of just in our room. Whereas when we were in our room on the dream, I was kind of always looking at that virtual porthole to see like to look for Tinkerbell and all that stuff, and like you can still see outside. So I definitely preferred our inside stateroom. Would I prefer that with the kids? No.
Oh.
Will I prefer it on the Magic where we don't have the virtual porthole? Probably not, because we're on another inside stateroom then. But between the two, I did enjoy that inside stateroom, I think, more so.
This is also more of a quirk of our booking, but we were closer to the laundry room on the dream than on the fantasy, and it is way nicer to not have to go up or down a deck to get your laundry done. Like we were right around the corner from it, so when I had to do the laundry, it was nice to just go over with the bag, throw everything in, literally walk back, and it took 10 seconds for me to get there and do everything. But that also was just more of a quirk of where we ended up on the ship.
Yeah. And then also we were on deck 6 on the fantasy, and we were on deck 8 on the dream. So both aft, by the way. Like both aft, I thought it was fine.
I remembered you saying that it might be a lot louder this time around than the last, but I didn't notice any difference
Yeah,
in
me
noise. It
either.
was, I think there was one time we heard like a couple arguing or something from outside the door, but that was, that's just an anomaly thing. That's not Disney's fault.
All right. Now we're looking at staff on the ship. So we're going to start with our room. What are they? Room.
Attendee?
Sure. Room attendee. Like they have an actual name. Can't think of what it is. If I find it, I'll put it down here for you guys all to see. So, room
Well, I mean,
staff.
for the room staff, it's almost not fair. Like, I'd go with the guy on the dream. That dude was awesome.
Wheaton. I'll put the spelling of his name here. I don't know how to pronounce it,
that guy was,
he was great.
He was top notch. I swear that guy was using pixie dust or something, because you'd turn around, like you'd leave the room, walk halfway down the thing, be like, "Oh, I forgot something," run back, and he'd have gone in there already, and the bed was made, done up, everything was done up perfectly. And it's like, what? When did that happen? And then like you'd turn around again, and suddenly he'd go in and turn the room down again, so that he'd put the little towel animal on there. He'd have everything done. He'd have the bed turned down so you can actually get into it. Because I mean, for those of you who have never been on a cruise before or stayed in a hotel, usually they do up the bed so tight that you have to fight your way into it. Like you might be able to get your arm into the blanket and be like, "Oh, my arm feels fantastic. It'll sleep great tonight." The rest of me, it's in trouble. But no, he'd come in and he'd loosen up all the bedding so that you could actually climb into bed and go to sleep. So that was really nice. Just he would do all that, and you'd never see him in your room. But he was always there. Like anytime you'd leave your room, he'd be there, and he'd be like, "Oh, good morning, sir. Good morning. Have a good day. Have a good day. Good morning." Like I thought that guy was awesome. Super friendly. Just best kind.
So you're saying dream.
Yes, 10 out of 10. It's not fair because the fantasy, we had a good guy there too, but he got hurt partway through our stay. So then they had to change it up. And then we had that issue where the blanket got folded up with
Yeah.
it got folded up with the bunk bed and sent up into the ceiling. I know that people listening probably think I'm on something. No, that's actually what happened. She got a special blanket ordered. It was on the bunk bed, and the bunk bed lifts up into the ceiling, and that's what happened. They left the blanket on there and popped it up into the ceiling, not realizing it was there. So then we went on a quest to find the missing blankie.
We found it. I would agree. I'm gonna say dream for room attendee. All right, for our dining team.
Oh, that's fantasy, 100% fantasy. We had it was Eric and B,
Yes.
and they were amazing.
So Eric where was he from? Was he from the Philippines?
Yes.
So Eric from the Philippines, B from Thailand. If you're watching this, we miss you so much.
You guys were awesome.
Oh my gosh, I miss so you.
Good. And I will also throw in that they had probably a harder table with us than the Dream did, because we had 3 kids with us. And I don't know if you've ever had to wait on 3 kids before. They are not cooperative at the best of times. But yeah, they were amazing.
So I'm gonna agree. Fantasy, 100%, hands down. You guys probably, if you watched any of my other videos, might have heard a couple of my complaints about our dining team. The first day, it did get better as the cruise went on.
They turned it around, yeah.
But still nowhere near B and Eric.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so even just in this, so we don't drink alcohol. I usually have ginger ale with my meal. B and Eric picked up on that day 1, and then every day after that, they like instead of having the water waiting for me at the table, my ginger ale would be there, and they would make sure that they're keeping an eye on it. They keep it topped up. This time around, I felt like I was very often having to ask for a refill.
And they'd sometimes not even bring you the right thing.
Yes, they brought me an apple juice one day, and I was just like, well, close enough. But it was a very watered down apple juice. But just that, like little things like that, or like obviously with the kids, B and Eric, they brought out those games and activities for the kids to do, like those little puzzles and stuff. Very well done.
And they brought our oldest that little every day. One day she asked for lemons. She wanted lemons. And so every day after that, next to where they knew she'd be sitting, they would have a little like bowl of lemon slices for her.
Yes.
She asked for it once, and they provided it every single meal after that.
Or because of the kids menu, you can order kids' dishes. You can get your nuggies or your burgers or whatever. And turns out in Canada, we have mustard on our burgers with ketchup, which apparently isn't a common thing. But they ran up to Deck 11, got some mustard, came back down, and then every meal after that, they had mustard there in case the kids ordered a burger. Just going way above and beyond.
Yep.
On the Dream, we had a guy in training too. I believe his name was Jefferson. He was good. He was keeping an eye on my drink too.
Lynx was good too.
Yeah, but he had he could only do what he could do, right? So, again, yeah, I'd say fantasy 100% was the better experience.
And then just in terms of my stuff, because I do have a banana allergy, so on the fantasy, I didn't have to worry about that at all. Like when I got there, they asked any allergies, I told them, and they immediately, every single meal, they would tell me on the menu what I couldn't have if like they knew it was like accented isn't the right word, but like if you have something they give you like fruit on the side for decoration, if they knew that one of the fruit on the side for decoration was a banana, they'd be like, you can't have this, right? On the Dream, immediately I got asked, well, do you want to monitor it yourself or what do you want to do? And I'm like, I mean, I can look at the main thing and see like, okay, this is like a chocolate cake. Chances are it's not going to have bananas in it, right? But does it though? Like, is it on the side as that little like decorative thing? I don't know. And like, I don't know. They almost seem like slightly annoyed at that. Whereas, like I said, on the fantasy, it was just a, yep. So Kayla, just so you know, in terms of bananas, you can't have these options because it's on the plate or it's like mixed in and like it's already assembled, so we can't remove it, like it's come in contact with it type of thing. Whereas on the Dream, I don't feel like my allergy was handled as well as on the fantasy.
On the fantasy, your allergy didn't come across like it was actually a problem. It was just something that they were aware of. On the Dream, it felt like it was an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with the people we were dining with on the Dream, because one of them couldn't eat gluten, and it felt like it came across the same way.
Yeah, because so like especially the gentleman with the gluten allergy, so he had to pre-order all of his food like for the next like day, and when our server would come to the table at the end of the meal, he almost seemed like very like impatient, like, hey, like, do you know what you want to order? And he'd be like, oh, I actually haven't looked yet, and like, and he just seemed like a little irritated that he'd have to wait for him to look at the menu for tomorrow and pick his meal. So like just that impatience and rush wasn't as great. Whereas like on the fantasy, they're like, yeah, take your time, do whatever you want. I don't care. So definitely that. Okay. Next staff.
Can I add one more staff member to the dining? Because there's that head dining person too. And
Okay,
ironically,
I didn't like either of them.
Ironically, I like the one on the Dream better than the one on the fantasy.
I didn't
felt
like either.
Well, okay, fair enough.
So like both of them, like that your head like server stuff, they literally just come like interrupt. Okay, so on the fantasy, they'd interrupt a good conversation like we were having with like V and Eric or whatever to tell us pointless stuff about the next day that we were already told or was already like told to us at the show or whatever. And like otherwise, like I feel like they don't do much. They don't know what our names are. They don't interact with us at all. They literally are just come, here's the information, and go. Like I don't find them friendly at all. Unfortunately, like they have a smile on their face, but you can tell they're just that you're just a checklist. They're like, okay, we talked to this table, we talked to this table, we talked to this table. So both cruises, I have not cared for either of the head servers.
I wouldn't describe them as unfriendly. I'd say they're phony. Like they're obviously phony.
Well, it's like the smile's there, but it's not like sincere. Yeah. They're just part of their checklist that they have to get done. Whereas like the other people, like their smiles are like legitimate. Like you can tell like they're happy to be there. They like what they do. Like, but those head servers, not my favorite. Okay, next staff members. So we're looking at our entertainment team, right? So on the Dream, that would have been like Inez. Who else did we have really other than Inez? I feel like she was like the main entertainment lady we saw.
What was the guy from Wales' name? Brandon?
Brendan.
We had him a few good times too.
And then on the Fantasy, we had Samantha. I remember her name because she did bingo. And when she was doing bingo, she was Cash Mantha. She was fun.
Yes, she was good.
And then we also had, what was the guy? Bald guy, glasses.
I know who you're talking about.
I feel like it starts with a W.
Was it not Winston? Willis? No.
Anyway.
Wallace?
No. I can't remember his name, but he was hilarious. We saw him on the first day of the cruise where we did like a family event and we were Team Riley versus Team Bing Bong. And every time he saw us on the cruise after, I'd be like, I see you there, Team Riley. Like, don't try to hide from me. He was fun.
So, best thing that guy did, and I feel awful for forgetting his name, but there was this game of games. It was kind of like Minute to Win It.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one game where it was the carpet scooch, where you had to like scooch your carpet out and around the table and back. And he went up against the guy from the sound booth while everybody was cheering him on. Those guys were great sports about it. Those guys were amazing. That was hilarious. Yeah, that was just, like I said, those guys just went above and beyond. They were just having a blast with it. You know, they were partying with everybody else. That was awesome.
All right, so which one had the better entertainment team?
I want to give the edge to the Fantasy. I did like the thing is, I like the combination of Brendan and Inez. They were a really good team.
I think it was Brandon. I think it was Brandon, not Brendan.
And they got paired up, especially in Evolution.
Yeah.
We saw them there a lot. And they were a great tandem team. But as far as almost everybody else, I feel like the Fantasy was probably better.
I would agree. I would say on the Fantasy, everyone in the entertainment team was fantastic. Whereas I feel like on the Dream, the real standouts are Inez and Brandon. And then some of the other ones are a little bit more forgettable. Like even the ones we only saw a couple times. So like even the ones we saw a couple times on the Fantasy, like were fantastic. Like that one girl, I can't remember her name once again because this was over a year ago. But remember the one that did the origami? And every time she'd go and she did a couple trivias too. And every time she'd start with like, oh, I haven't seen that movie. I'm like, you work on a Disney cruise. How have you not seen these Disney movies? But once again, we didn't see her a ton, but she'd remember our face every single time. And she'd be like, hey, you remember how last time you were saying I hadn't seen Aristocats? I watched it last night while I was doing my homework. You were right. Great movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just felt like they were all very...
And she was the one who would come in, and I'm going to feel bad for this because I always forget, but she taught everyone how to say hello in her native language. And I have already forgot it. I don't even remember what the language was.
Either. But like, yeah, she said something. Oh, I can't remember.
And then after that, everyone would say it to her. And it was awesome.
Wasn't it like yeah, something? It was like a Y.
It's like Yabo?
So yes, maybe something like that. Anyway. Fantastic. I would agree. Fantasy was great, but Inez and Brandon, you were great. If you're seeing this, you guys were fantastic. And Inez, I hope your friend Macarena had a great wedding. Okay, shows. So this is like the like Broadway show. So on the Fantasy, we had Aladdin, Frozen, and is it Believe? Okay. And then on the Dream was Beauty and the Beast, Believe, and Golden Mickeys. Okay, which one had the better shows?
Again, Fantasy.
Okay, but one second. We're just gonna have to reset. Okay,
I'm gonna qualify some stuff.
We've ranked these shows from our favorite show to our least favorite show. All right, and I think we're still on our favorite show was Aladdin. Correct? Your favorite's still Aladdin?
Yes.
So, and that was on the Fantasy. Our least favorite,
Frozen,
which was also on the Fantasy. What would you say was your second favorite?
Probably Believe.
I think I might go Beauty and the Beast over Believe.
I would say so. I'm not to do. I don't want to spoil anything though, but
So don't just
okay.
leave it out. Don't spoil.
I would say there is a performance in Believe, and
Well,
the one
because there's
the one character there, the one actor is so good that he absolutely lifted up that performance and made it so much better than it probably had merit to be.
Yeah,
But
and
I
we
just
didn't watch it on the Dream, so we don't know how good Believe would have been without him.
Yeah, but I enjoyed
that's
that.
fair.
I enjoyed watching that one so much. That guy did such a good job. I would say that Beauty and the Beast would be the next one after that. I don't know what it is about every performance of Beauty and the Beast, but I feel like how good the performance of Beauty and the Beast is going to be heavily depends on how good they have the guys playing Gaston and LeFou. Because if you
but Gaston and LeFou were freaking fantastic.
oh, they were no, I'm not saying they were bad. They were so good.
And meanwhile, Beast, I wasn't a fan of the Beast in it. I think that he was probably the weakest of the show. But and Gaston and LeFou were fantastic. Belle was fantastic. Oh, but Beast, bro. Okay, anyway, so I think we're both agreeing fantasy.
Yeah.
Better shows.
We also saw in the Golden Mickeys, that was enjoyable. I think the problem I have with
that there was no Aurora, I know.
Yes, that was horrible. How could she be snubbed like that?
Mm-hmm.
No Maleficent either. Wait.
No Maleficent, nope.
But
BS. Maleficent deserve. Okay, if you're gonna have a thing about villains in there, the villain you choose is freaking Cruella. Cruella. When you've got Maleficent, Hades, Evil Queen, Scar,
Radigan.
Anyway, sorry.
Actually, I'm surprised they didn't go with Dr. Facilier.
That would have been cool.
Like, I feel like that would have been a good one to go
but
with.
I think this started much longer ago, so I don't think it was as because Golden Mickey's is an older show. Okay. Anyway, moving on from shows.
Well, did you want to talk about any of the other stuff that was on the fantasy though? Because there was the other shows that weren't the musical, Junk.
Nope, okay. Because we didn't have any of those on the Dream, so that's not included.
Okay.
Because it was a shorter cruise. Okay, next topic. One that you know nothing about. Merch. Which one had the better merch?
Well, I mean...
And we can include the Halloween on the High Seas merch this time around. That is going to be included. So do you just not have an opinion because you don't buy anything?
I'm trying to think if I bought anything on either trip from either...
You bought nothing.
Where'd I get my hat?
That was at the Disney Character Warehouse.
Yeah, okay, then I got nothing.
Okay, so we're going to go with me, okay? So merch. So in terms of merch, I'd have to go the Dream. And here's my reasoning. While the Fantasy had the Halloween on the High Seas merch, they had limited ear options. They had a very, very limited pin section. It was one of those little turny things. Whereas the Dream had an entire wall of pins.
It was loud and proud on display.
It was fantastic. They had multiple ear options. They had multiple different Spirit Jersey options. Okay, if you didn't want one that was just the back of the ship, you could get a plain blue one. You could get one that was white. And they also had Disney Cruise Line on the back. I just think overall, in terms of options for merch, the Dream has the edge. That might be because maybe they've changed up their options. They've added more stuff. But in terms of when we were on the ships, the Dream had much more options than the Fantasy did. And we're going to come to our very last section here, and that is ports of call. So and since Tyson's sitting there with a very confused look on his face, he's like, what? So sweetheart, that's where your ship stops at, right? So on the Fantasy, we stopped at Cozumel, Mexico, Castaway Cay, and Jamaica, Falmouth, Jamaica. We were supposed to stop at Grand Cayman, but that got canceled because of the hurricane, right? So, and then on the Dream, we stopped at Castaway Cay and Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point, I think is the official long name for it. So which one do you think? So pretty much we're looking at a Western Caribbean versus Bohemian cruise. Which one had the better ports? You can't include the stuff we did.
One of them overlapped, so it's...
That's fine. You can't include the wrestling show we saw.
I wasn't going to.
That's not included in because
although we have a nice lovely picture of there. Shall I grab that?
You can grab the picture.
Shall I grab that real quick and just... My wife kept this as a lovely surprise for me, right up until the cruise line spoiled it for us by saying, hey, there's a lucha show in Cozumel tomorrow. And I went, oh, well, that's probably knowledge I shouldn't have known until tomorrow.
Okay, so in terms, though, of like just ports of call in general, like itinerary, Western Caribbean or Bohemian. So like going to like multiple Disney islands or going to other places.
I do like going to other places just because the options for excursions are better.
Okay.
Because, I mean, Castaway Cay is great. We did the snorkeling. That was fun. But then, like, everything else is just kind of on the beach, drinking, or, in the water. There's not a whole lot of variety to do there. Which is fine if that's, like, your one-day thing. But if you want to do anything else while you're on this trip, then your options are limited.
Okay. I actually think that I preferred the double Disney Island because I didn't have to worry about trying to plan excursions. I didn't like none of that because there's nothing extra, right? That I have to worry about paying for there except for like if we want the drinks. So, and I mean, everyone's getting on the ship, getting off the ship, getting on the ship kind of together. They can't leave you behind because even if you want to, they'll track your ass down and bring you back to the ship. So there's no stress about that either, right? So I think that I would say I liked the Bohemian itinerary better. That being said, our next cruise, we only have 2 ports, and they are Progresso and Cozumel. We really like Cozumel, apparently, because guess where we're going in 2027? Cozumel! Guess where we've never gone? Nassau. Guess where I see all the people who do lots of cruises complain that they go to all the time? Nassau. Not a single one of our ships goes to Nassau. I'll see that port one day. So, overall, everything included, which one would you say was the better cruise, Fantasy or Dream?
I mean, and we're excluding the fact that one was a 7-day, one was a 4-day. Yeah, I'm still going to give the edge to the Fantasy. I just felt it was an overall better experience.
So in the future, we're looking at a cruise, right? We're looking at that 10+ day cruise we want to do in 2028. There's 2 options, both 10 days. Fantasy, Dream. Which ship are we going on?
I'd say Fantasy.
Unfortunately, Donald, I would agree. I'm going back on the Fantasy. I would give you another chance, okay? I would not hesitate to go on you again. Not hesitate. Don't think dirty. But I want to see improvements. I want better food. I want a non-dry pork chop. All right? But either way, they were both fantastic.
Very enjoyable, both counts.
So much so that I am very upset that our last cruise, Disney cruise, will be 2026 in March because we're on the Royal Caribbean in 2027 and we won't be on a Disney cruise again until 2028. I'm going to go through withdrawal.
Be strong, wifey. Be strong.
If you see a video in 2027 of me taking a spur-of-the-moment trip to like Disneyland or Disney World, don't question me. I needed it. My bank account didn't. It will not be a family trip because I can't afford that.
Maybe we'll take a cheap break and go on a Margaritaville.
Don't do that. Although to be fair, if like I felt like I would, if there was like a cheap cruise, like this other YouTuber that I watch sometimes, he recently did a Margaritaville cruise. I think he said it was like $300 or $400 a person for a 7-night cruise. I'd hop on Margaritaville. I don't even drink it. I'd hop on Margaritaville. Then though, it would have to have good ports because I'm not going there for the ship. Anyway, that is going to conclude our review of the ships. And we'll see you guys next time, which for me, you might see me in a week or so at Disneyland. Still not sure if I'm going to film anything there. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in March.
Stay spooky.